This is Goku-san DBZ, and welcome back for a new episode of Best to Worst. This is where I count down my opinion, the weakest to the strongest. With that said, this time on Best to Worst, I'm going to be in honor of upcoming Halloween, since we're in October now. This is going to be a horror-themed Best to Worst list. And this is going to be for a smaller, more modern horror franchise I like, which is more psychological. And this is the best to worst, in my opinion, Insidious films. Yes, there's only right now 4 films in the franchise, but this is arguably my number one favorite modern horror franchise. And I think overall this franchise has done very well so far, so we'll see how things go from here. First up, we'll start with, in my opinion, of the 4, the weakest of these films. And in my opinion, the weakest is unfortunately the most recent installment of the franchise that came out this year. And that is Insidious, The Last Key. Though personally I think it should be called Insidious Chapter 4, but whatever. But of course this new one, it's about really the main character, I guess you could say, really of the franchise, Elise, and where she ends up somehow having to go back to the house she grew up in. Now, in my opinion, this film is overall the weakest. I mean, there is still enjoyment to be found in the film, and I find the new, entity or being kind of refreshing. The design is definitely different, and you'll have to excuse my eyes bugging me. But with that said, indeed, in my opinion, it is hands down the worst. The weakest. It's still a good film, don't get me wrong, overall. If you were to scale the movie, I guess I would give this film probably about a 6.5 out of 10. So, I mean, I still don't put it on the negative side, but obviously with about a 6.5 out of 10, I do feel it's a very weak film versus the trilogy. But there were elements I did like in this, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff I didn't care as much for in this film specifically. One, I also feel the music wasn't as well done in this film, and I didn't care as much about a lot of the newer characters introduced in this film as well. I mean, there are elements, like I said, the design of the main creature, or entity, demon, whatever you want to call it, in this movie was an awesome design, and I think it's easily maybe about the best well-designed creature in this franchise as a whole, but that's the best part, in my opinion, of the film. If the creature feels like something that would have come out of something like Pan's Labyrinth, if you've ever seen that Del Toro film, I highly recommend you check it out. Coming in at number 3 out of them is Insidious Chapter 2. One, this is by far the weakest film, at least say, in the area of creepiness factor or scare area. It's by far the least creepy, but the positive side of this is it's really good at storytelling and world building to this world that the franchise has been trying to create. And I think that's where this film exceeds in. Insidious Chapter 2, in my opinion, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give this film of course I said, the 4th film I gave like a 6.5. I'd give Chapter 2 probably a 7.5 out of 10, 7.5. So, obviously, I like it decent about more than the 4th film in the series, but yeah, I feel that's where mainly the second film exceeds in, is the area of world building for the franchise as a whole. But creepiness is by far the weakest out of the franchise. So you have to take the good with the bad with this particular film. And that's how it is with a lot of films, especially in a franchise. Coming in at number 2, in my opinion, the second best, some people may definitely disagree with me, But in my opinion, the second best in the franchise is Insidious Chapter 3, which came out, of course, a few years back. On a scale of 1 to 10, I actually gave this movie a much higher score than a lot of people did. Gave, I believe in my review, like a 9 out of 10 to Insidious Chapter 3. And I feel it's still, I'd probably rank it somewhere between 8.5 and a 9.0 now. But still very positive overall. And it was awesome, well done, well executed film. And of course, I did like that little jump scare at the end, obviously, with the, as I call it, Darth Maul demon. And I liked the entity and creature in this film, this demonic entity. Plus, we got to see a new part of the Farther, or as I really call the Farther, what it really is. It's just a different name, and that being, obviously, the astral plane. But anyways, as the case may be with it, in my view, Insidious Chapter 3, in my opinion, is the second best in the franchise. But everything is subject to opinion. That's the thing with movies, music, entertainment in general. Everything is subjective to each person's opinion. Especially so, people are very opinionated here on the internet, obviously, especially in the YouTube comments section. And coming in at number 1, obviously, is Insidious, the original, and the introduction to the Darth Maul demon, and also, of course, introducing a song most people would never picture as a franchise theme, and it was for the trilogy, the first 3 films. And of course, originally in the first and second film, that was Tiptoe Through the Tulips from Tiny Tim, which was creepy in himself. If you watch performances he did when he was alive, he was a creepy looking individual. Yeah. His smile sends shivers on my spine. He's creepier than the Darth Maul demon. But hey, at least Darth Maul got work after Star Wars. Yes, it's supposed to be a bad joke. But in overall, I of course ranked the first Insidious film a 10 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed the first one, and I can't say really anything negative about the film. I love the whole introduction of the Farther, aka Astral Plane, and characters that we saw introduced in the first film. And I really overall thoroughly enjoyed the film for these different entities. I thought it was a great introduction, and I'm not surprised it was good, given who directed this film. And of course also directed the second film in the franchise, and that being James Wan, of course, director also of the first and second Conjuring films, which in the future I will probably do a best to worst list of the Conjuring universe. So you can stay tuned for that in the future. So I'm going to leave you up to you in the comments section. This was best to worst in my opinion, the Insidious franchise. I'm going to give you an option. Leave a comment below and tell me of these 3, which you would like me to do in a future best to worst of a horror franchise. Do you want me to do the Conjuring franchise, the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, or the Friday the 13th franchise? So leave a comment and tell me which of these 3 you would like me to do for a future best to worst, especially, and I will end up doing the selected one probably on, well, the weekend of Halloween. So I'll see you all next time for some future reviews and top 5 lists coming your way very soon, in fact. So I'll see you next time, and I thought, given creepiness, it would only be right to wear a ghost shirt. Anyways, I'll see you then. Have a good one, everyone out there. And you too, CKN.